Come on. Look at that. Look at that. We're live. We're live. Mishka, can you say hi to the internet world? Yay. All right. We got to wait for comments. Waiting for comments. Anyone out there in the internet world? Maybe we'll just do an hour of watching the Pomeranian dance. You want to dance? Hey, hey. Oh, Lucas. Hey, man. We got Matthew in the house. Oh, Ben. Dude. Hey. Hey. Hey, beautiful people. Sweet. All right. Who's got the first question? Who's going to fire a question? It's called Ask Me Anything, but that doesn't mean I'm going to answer everything. Oh, Raz. Hey, Raz in the house. Hey, mate. Wait, it's a bit hot in here. Let me get the fan. All right. Here we go. Mishka, we're live. We're live. Oh, all right. Who's got the first question? Let's go. All right. Don't ask me a question about plugins because then we'll just speak for an hour about plugins. But we could kick things off with talking about Australia. Let's do that. Recently, we went to Australia, and we did a retreat there, and we did our first gig in 5 years, which was epic, at the old Dragon Dreaming, which was a festival that I went to in 2009, the very first Dragon and Dreaming. It was epic, and yeah, favorite plugin of all time. That's a good one. Australia, we ran a retreat and we had 20 students, which was amazing, our biggest retreat yet, and everyone learnt lots of stuff, and we drank lots of mate and cacao, and we did breath work, and we did yoga, and we did meditation, and we made music all week, and went for a walk to the top of a mountain to see a shrine, a Buddhist shrine. That was cool. And yeah, that was epic. So we're back. We are back, Lucas. Officially back, man. It's good. We went into hibernation for 5 years. The world went a little bit topsy turvy there for a while, and we were already off the road. We'd already gone into a early retirement, and Australia was our first gig and our first return back to the scene, which was awesome. We also got to play our very first Aussie Sonic Samadhi set in its new. We did one at Rainbow a few years back, but this was kind of like the new chapter of Sonic Samadhi, and that was at Mullum. Ben, you know about Mullum, right there next to Main Arm with those big crazy march flies. Oh, Jordan in the house. Hey, man, good to see you, dude. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, Ben, to answer your question there, my favorite plugin of all time is definitely Sausage Fattener. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I use it on everything. Pretty much I master with it everything. Like put it on my reverbs, everything. Vocals, Sausage Fattener. So Australia was epic, and it was very nourishing to go back into the bush, to hear the bird song, to feel the land. That was epic. So next we are. Well, I'm actually going to be back in Australia for New Year's. Going to be down in the bush in Victoria for Tanglewood, which should be a fun time. I have been working on so much new material. I have more unreleased songs under my belt than I've ever had before. spanning so many different vibes and genres and everything. Um, yeah, love it. Love it. It's going to be a good time. So after Australia, um, in New Year's, we'll be going back to Australia for, I think, March. We're in March, and we're going to do a nationwide tour to most places, most major places, cities, and hot dancing spots. And we're going to do Kalya, Scintilla, Sonic Samadhi Fusion, which will be a little mix of some ambient Sonic Samadhi vibes at the bookends, and then a Kalya Scintilla sweaty ultimate dance experience. It's going to be epic. And yeah, then after that, we're off to Thailand. We're going to go to Thailand and run another retreat there, which is epic. Oh, Lucas, you are part of that retreat. Good to see your name on there, dude. Yeah, it's going to be fun. We've actually got one of the students from the Aussie retreat loved it so much he's coming back. Yeah, shout out to Lion Brother Simon. That's going to be epic. Any gigs for Europe in summer? Did you see the announcement for Azora? Yes, that's right, Azora. It was actually really nice to go away for 5 years and disappear and then come back and have Merkaba's name second from the top there in the Azora lineup. That was epic. There's maybe that was a good strategy. Just go away for 5 years and then everyone gets a little bit like, oh, we need you back. So you just go straight to the top. Sweet. Yeah. Other gigs in Europe, boom, definitely could be on the cards. Could be. Nothing's official yet, so we'll just see. We'll see what happens with that. We will be running a retreat in Europe as well at the end of summer. Most likely in Tenerife, maybe. Don't know. Still figuring out things. It's all in the planning phase at the moment, but that should be fun. So yeah, because we're going to be over there for festivals, Azora definitely. I imagine that there'll be other gigs that happen around. But yeah, nothing official yet. So, have to keep it somewhat mystical. US tour. Oh, that's just the question on everyone's minds and hearts. US tour. We are planning some US dates for fall next year. Planning. Don't know yet. Yeah, we've just sort of been regrouping after being away for so long, and so we're taking it easy as we come back. We're taking it easy. The US, we want to do it right. We want to do something magical. We want to hold the reins on a really nice venue and do it ourselves, or with a really good team that we really love. Any artists who are on the thread right now, you know how it is when you do a gig with a promoter at a venue and a vibe that you don't really fit and it doesn't really work. It can be awkward, it can be uncomfortable. So yeah, we really want to come back to the US with something special. Like our last US extravaganza we did in 2019, we rented the Boulder Theatre in Colorado and did a big show there, which was amazing with Parangi and Yaima supporting us. That was really magical, and we did a dress up and we did a whole theme, and yeah, it was really really good vibes. So we want to do that sort of thing, like bring the magic again, make it intentional, make it meaningful. Yeah. All right. So who's got another question? Ask me anything. Except not my favorite plugin, because I already answered that. It's not sausage fattener, by the way. I was joking. Sometimes you can't tell with Australian humour because it's so dry. But I do love the Michelangelo plugin. Anyone's interested in plugins? I could talk about plugins all night. Yeah, Michelangelo from Tone Projects. Beautiful EQ, tube saturation. Very nice. Use it every day. Um, so yeah, we've with the retreats. I'll talk a bit more about that with the retreats. Um, we have yeah, we're sort of growing a community as we go. You know, it's just the nature of these things. Some people come in, you know, for a week of magic and creation and a whole journey, and you know, these sort of bonds that they happen naturally because of the intimacy of these experiences. So we've been growing a little group in Telegram for anyone who's been a part of a retreat, and in there we sort of sharing music ideas, and there's even collaboration connections happening. Um, so yeah, it's a really fun thing, you know, and I'm always happy to review people's work in there and, you know, experience how they've been integrating the things I've been teaching. I've been learning a lot from these courses myself, actually, because I've been taking, you know, I've been analyzing what I do in the studio, and I've been breaking it down and analyzing it and making a formula out of it, and not getting too rigid. Oh, someone, Mishka, come back. They need you. Come on, come on. All right. She's back. She's back by popular demand. She's a little bit sleepy. Look at that sleepy face. Look at it. So cute. Yeah. So, oh yeah, good question there, Morgan. We'll get to that in a sec. Um, yeah. So I've been breaking down this formula, and I've actually been leveling up my own music, and because I've been analyzing what I do to the point where I'm sort of, you know, fine tuning what I'm doing with my own process, which is really fun. You know, the last, I don't know, like the last 6 months, I've been working on this group of 25 Kalya tunes and other music. But yeah, it's been really cool to feel like this creative energy coming through after these retreats. Um, so, what's the best way to prepare for the Thailand retreat? The best way, yeah, just, you know, bring an open mind and an open heart. Bring your laptop, of course. I've been teaching beings who have literally just bought a computer and installed Ableton before coming to the retreat. That's Simon, who's coming to the next one, and been teaching him how to make his first song. We had a guy at the second Hawaii retreat, a French guy, who made his very first song. And then we had, you know, a guy who's been making tunes and touring in Europe for like 20 years with a really, really cutting edge sound, definitely knows what he's doing. But he came along because he wanted to sort of get out of the box. You know, when we get really focused on what we're doing and we repeat it a lot, we get caught in a sort of a framework. So for him, I think the biggest thing was coming to the retreat to sort of break out of that repetitive pattern and that box that we find ourselves in. So yeah, it's really for everyone, and I think it's really it's really for everyone who really wants to go deep in creativity, but also be challenged a little bit with how to level up our lifestyle and how we live and breathe and exist in relationship to our art and creating art in our life. Um, so yeah, the best way to prepare is just to be open and ready. So Morgan says, how are you feeling about the state of music industry in Australia with the venue shutdowns, ticket sales, festival cancellations, and Live Nation takeover? Ooh, those corporate entities breathing down our buttholes. All right, so yeah, you know, I'm living in Hawaii for the last 10 years, so I'm a little bit behind the times on Australia, but my brother and sister and others have been telling me a little bit about what's going on there. I think it sort of mirrors what's happening in a lot of places post lockdown. Just with the price of everything going up and bigger entities being able to take more of everything while the little ones suffer. You know, these are just cycles, and I know that when things get this bad, the human urge to dance and come together as a tribe is ancient, and it's always going to be there. It's literally coded in our DNA. So we're always going to find a way to dance. And if things get too rigid and too controlled, then it will go back to the underground and things will happen in secret in warehouses or on properties out in the bush. Um, so I just know that there's always these cycles. You know, I've only been doing this for 20 about a little less than 20 years, and then of course I've been partying for like 10 years before that, but I've seen ebbs and flows over my journey of times where it was, you know, the scene in the clubs in Sydney in early 2000s was this epic peak, and then it kind of got watered out and things changed and the landscape changed, and then we all went to the bush anyway. So yeah, I just feel that these are just phases, so it's going to be good. All right, so let me move on here. um, oh, love from Tassie. Sending love to you down there in Tassie, Lisa. Oh yeah, Lisa. Hey, love. Good, nice one. Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about Tassie recently. I was telling my neighbour about Tassie yesterday, actually. Give Tassie and all the Tassie crew a hug from me. Um, nice. Thanks for that, Samir. Big love to you and Switzerland. How did you crack the code with music? Asks Matt. How do you crack the code with music? It was a combination of things. I think most important was that passion to really devote to music no matter what the outcome was going to be. It wasn't about the outcome, it was just following the passion every step of the way. You know, there were some peak moments on dance floors involving magic mushrooms in nature, um, that, you know, really sort of gave me these aha moments where I felt this connection to music and the power of music. And of course, you know, because I was already interested in it, that just sort of solidified that direction. One night in Sydney when I was living in Glebe, and yeah, I took some magic mushrooms and listened to Herbie Hancock records by the fire in my bedroom, and it was one of those moments where I could feel the music flowing through me, and just the energy of that was just so profound, and it made me feel this connection to all that is. And that was just one of those little moments where I knew that music was going to be my path, and I didn't know how I was going to get there, but that didn't matter because there's that knowing. So yeah, all about following the passion, man. And you know, like I teach in the retreats and to my students, it's about having healthy sacrifice, which comes with having boundaries and making decisions to put the music first, you know, over things in your life. You know, I left Sydney, I got away from the city, I didn't go to parties and get high all the time anymore. I let go of that life and only came in occasionally so that I could just be focusing on doing music. I'd be in my studio 8 hours a day for that, you know, almost every day of the week for that first 2 years. So yeah, it was really just about that passion, that drive, and just shutting everything else out and focusing, which was a lot easier back then because the internet wasn't so distracting. um, all right, so let's move on here. Another question. Um, oh, how's Mishka? Mishka, how are you doing? You good? Yeah, she's good. Any new music you are creating? All right, you know, I always like the element of surprise and mysticism, and I'm not give away too many secrets, but I am working on so much new music, and it's overwhelming even for me. I have about an hour of Merkaba, new Merkaba content, which I played most of it at Dragon Dreaming, and it will be featured in my upcoming sets. I am working on the next album for Merkaba. I am also working on a series of releases for Kalya Scintilla. It's going to be a series of EPs, and it spans many different flavors and genres. There's always going to be a story, and there's a something cryptic to that release, that series of releases. Hopefully, I can get one of those out early next year. Some new Griffin Cloud stuff is definitely there in the background, and a bunch of new Sonic Samadhi stuff is also in the works. So we've been going crazy working on all the projects at the same time lately. Um, oh, yeah, so it's been fun, but this is where I live now, studio life. I wake up in here, I work here, I go to sleep, I wake up, rinse and repeat. But it's going to be so awesome when we get out to the gigs and to the festivals and all this new music. Yeah, super exciting. So yeah, the technique that I've been teaching at the retreats is very much a part of the new music I've been creating, because I've been able to sit down and work on a body of 25 songs for Kalya Scintilla across this big storyboard with these 5 chapters, and work on this whole body of work literally just the last 6 months. And some of that 6 months was living in a tiny home and in a really cold, rainy place, and being really uncomfortable, and then having to move and settle into a new place. And so life has been very tumultuous, but the awesome thing has been to take what I'm teaching at the retreats and then refine it, and take this technique and break it down, for myself as well, so that I can apply it to what I'm doing. And it's fun because, back in the day, I used to have a lot of creative energy would come out onto the canvas, and then it would take me weeks or months to take all these creative ideas and distill them down and mix them into something that sounded good. But now with this new technique, I'm creating the ideas on the canvas with the mix already hitting really good levels, and the template is already set up, so things are already kind of shaped well, so that throwing ideas onto the canvas early on, there's already a really polished sound. Yeah, it's been awesome, and it's been revolutionary for me to use this technique. And yeah, I love teaching it too. Your new Griffin Cloud is fire. Thank you so much. I will say that Griffin Cloud album was a very intense, deep, and slightly painful journey, because of just the content and the story that's underlying that album. It's an album that I literally had dreamt up 10 years ago, and then it took about 5 years to come to completion, and I worked on it in little bits and pieces throughout my journey in life over those 5 years. Yeah, I'm excited to work more on that project. I really love the tribal techno flavor and the sort of electronica broken beat. Yeah, I love that stuff. So yeah, look out for more of that in the future. Um, we are waiting for you in Copenhagen. Yeah, so Thailand, the retreat that's happening in March. There's also going to be some Kalya Scintilla Merkaba gigs around that time. Obviously, I'm going to be there. It'd be a great idea to do a gig. So anyone who's on the island or who's going to be on the island, keep an eye out for that. Can't announce anything official yet, but there's something in the works. So that's going to be exciting. And I've never been to Thailand. I've just been to the Bangkok airport, which doesn't really count. So excited to go to a new country. That's going to be fun. Good Arvo from Sydney. The beginning of your aliases and when they came to be. All right, I'll try and keep this one kind of short. Uh, yeah, Kalya. No, let's see. Merkaba came first. I went to a doof. I saw Tetrameth. He blew my mind and my heart, and I knew that I wanted to write progressive bush, Xenon style trance. And so I went home and I started dabbling in those beats. About a year later, after excessive amounts of studio time, I got my first gig at Winter Solstice Cairns. I needed a name. I was reading Drunvalo's Ancient Secret of Flower of Life around that time, so I thought Merkaba. I like that concept of that vehicle of light, the portal for the soul, the vehicle for the soul. So Merkaba came out of that. Then I was writing some beats on the side because I came from a background of more funk and breakbeat and hip hop. So yeah, I was making the Kalya beats, which are inspired by Beats Antique and Spongle and Tipper and various other artists of that realm. And so Kalya Scintilla came out of a fusion of a gypsy word, Kalya, which means other time, yesterday or tomorrow, and then Scintilla, which is sparkles. So it's like yesterday is tomorrow, like a spark. And that sort of just came from a love of the word Kalya, and then just using a thesaurus to find, a word that went with the concept of other time that married well with that and sounded good. It is still a mouthful, when I write my artist name for someone, they're always like, how do you say that? Kalya Scintilla. Some people think I'm Kayla, and that I'm actually a woman. I'm not. I'm just putting that to rest. Um, so Griffin Cloud, again, it was just keeping this sort of idea of what I wanted the techno flavor of my expression to be. I felt like an affinity when I was writing techno with clouds and soaring through the sky. And then it was like, oh, Griffin, I love griffins, that, mythical beast with an eagle and a lion. Super cool. Cloud, let's just make it Griffin with cloud, but we'll spell the cloud with a K because K looks more German and German is more techno, right? And, I do have German ancestry, so I'm going to claim that. So that's where that came from. And Sonic Samadhi, 2012, I was reading something, and it was about the concept, not the concept, but it was about Samadhi from the East and that realm, that space of Samadhi. And of course, I was looking for a name for a chill out DJ set, which I played in Luminate, New Zealand, 2012. So Sonic Samadhi just sort of happened because it was Samadhi, and what goes well with Samadhi? Sonic, yeah, music, that's great. Which is awesome because, I will say that it's very important when you go on an exploration to find the name of your music that you make sure that it vibrationally captures what it is that you want to bring forth in the music. If you called uh, if you were making chill out music, you wouldn't call your project Psycho Circus because it'd probably start to sound a little bit not like chill out. So I like the exploration. You can get really creative with finding a name, and it doesn't even have to be an earth word. It could be a word from um, some sort of fantasy realm. All right, we're gonna move on. Oh yeah, I answered that one. Okay, how'd you come up with the name Kalya Scintilla? Can you give us a sneak peek, a few examples of what you teach? So it's broken into music and mysticism. The mysticism concept is breath work, stretching, meditation, learning about how to be more mindful and more heartful as an artist, how to show up for our art, our relationship of ego and the art. Um, we talk a little bit about the industry. We just sort of go into the more it's mystical, but it also does touch into some more practical stuff because it is about integration. It's not just so much woo woo stuff. There's a little bit of woo, but we also take the woo and we integrate it. And like, how is it practical? I like being very grounded. I feel like a wombat most of the time. And when we're talking about metaphysical and mystical things, I really like to work them down into the earth plane and make them practical. So that's the mystical side of things. And drinking cacao and tea, that's also part of the mystical side. Now, the music side, we go through a song and we take the song through a series of stages from the template when we open our computer and what we're looking at in our DAW. I use Logic, but what I teach is applicable to all DAWs. And so we have this, we start with our template, and I show you how I build my template and how it's a relationship of structure, but also openness for creativity, because it's important to not get too rigid at any point because it kind of stifles our creativity. And then we start building a track, from the ground up. For the last 3 retreats, it's been sort of a mid-tempo groove, a little bit tribal, fun, but we take storytelling and we break down a very simple, creative writing and drawing method, whatever resonates with you, to just find a series of words, a sentence, or even sometimes we just use 3 words. And those 3 words become the foundation for what we're creating. So then we make a groove with the intention of this story, and then we build that groove out into a simple structure of a storyline. And then we go further into, jamming on top of that and refining it. And then we go into mixing, and then we go into bus processing. We look at gain staging. We look at dynamics. We look at EQing. Nothing I do, which is quite surprising for many, nothing I do is super, super technical, because I'm not that kind of person. What I do is technical, and I've learnt technical ways, but the way I implement what I do is pretty simple in terms of how I execute it. And I think that's why beginners often get a lot out of the retreats and my teaching, is because I can take a technical concept like dynamic EQing and make it pretty simple and practical. So we go through the whole thing, and ideally we end up with a song at the end of the week that has even been mastered with a basic mastering chain that I show as well. And if we have time, we get to present it to the group. But we also share, as our journey goes on, we have a Telegram group and we can share. I just reviewed one of my students' songs today, gave some feedback on that, which is really awesome. Great to hear what he'd done. So that's kind of the overview of what we go through in the week of the retreat. Sweet. So, are you coming to Earth Freak next year? I don't know. Ask Earth Freak. Any chance of releasing the older Merkaba works on vinyl? Don't know. We'll have to look into that. I've been a little bit overwhelmed with pressing vinyl, because it's like dealing with a physical product, and there's so many parts to doing it, and then there's shipping it in a warehouse where it gets shipped to, and then they send it out, and there's been damaged vinyls, and I love vinyl so much. I used to be a huge vinyl collector. I had thousands of records, so I'm not going to stop doing vinyl, but I don't want to go through the process of making vinyl constantly, because of the amount of energy that's put into pressing a vinyl. But I would like to make a Merkaba vinyl one day, so that's definitely not off the table. Before or after the retreat, the gigs, I guess you just have to wait and see. I think I can probably say that one of them is definitely after. You know, there might be one before and one after. I'm not sure. We have to get the details ironed out before we announce that. But you'll know soon. We're going to announce soon. Cool. We have a question here from Vivek. Let's see. Which is your most touched track in the Merkaba project? Closest to your heart. You know, there's a very special space in my heart for Dreamscape. That very, very, very early one that was on the first EP. I made that song in the back of a Troopy, a four-wheel drive Toyota Land Cruiser driving around Australia. And the majority of it I made at this beautiful little sanctuary in Alice Springs outside of town. This lovely woman J9's property. Yeah, that was, wow, that was way back. That was like 2008. So Dreamscape was the first song where, yeah, I'd sampled a chant and I'd kind of created this more mystical, tribal space in the music. And yeah, that was sort of this song where I knew that there was something special about that. And then when I gave that as a demo to Tim at Xenon Records, he was like, "Oh yeah, this is your sound, man. Like, give me an EP of this style, and we'll go with this." So that was a very special one, definitely. It will always stand out. And then of course I got to play it at my first gig in Israel, which was epic. Yeah, that was like a dream come true. I love that. Oh, okay. Nick asked about Zulu voodoo. Oh yeah, old school, old school. Um, all the way back in 2013. It is. I think that song was actually quite a bit older than that. That was one of my early sketches. Maybe it got released then. A wild boar or a lion? I think it was probably a lion because I don't ever remember having any wild boar samples. Although there are wild boars here in Hawaii and they do make some pretty guttural sounds. Maybe that would work. Yeah, so I'd have to go with lion on that. I do use lions often. I've even made bass lines out of lions. Bass lions. I've made bass lions before. Oh yes, Yash, I would love to. We would both love to come to Mauritius again, Eve and I. We had such a magical time in Mauritius, and the people there were so beautiful. The festival was, yeah, it was magical. Yeah, it really touched our hearts, and I really, really hope, I know we will be back there again one day. We actually have a little, in our kitchen, we have a little, um, like a wooden cutout memorabilia plaque that's the shape of the island of Mauritius. That was gifted to us when we were there. So yeah, we think about Mauritius often. Makes sense why you're on Big Island root chakra. Yeah, definitely root chakra vibes here, man. It's not an easy place to live because volcanoes. Yeah, the volcanic energy is really tumultuous, and it really it's fascinating. I don't know. You really have to go and live in a volcanic place to understand the beauty and the intensity of it. When you can tap into creativity here, because the lava, you know, coming out of the earth is like the most primal creativity that there is. It's literally the earth creating her own land. Yeah, it's really amazing when you tap into creative energy here and you focus it, but you have to stay focused because the lava is like wobbly and ungrounding at the same time as it is the root chakra. It's a funny little thing. There's like the shadow and the light, and the shadow is people get really ungrounded here, and the energy kind of runs them. People go a little bit loco. Um, yeah, but it's definitely an exciting place to live. Um, all right, what are the key three elements you prioritize while creating a song? Is it focused towards making the audience dance or to make them feel in a particular way? Um, it's a combination of the inner and the outer. It's having the story first and foremost, the intention, the seed from where the song grows. If it's a dance song, absolutely. The groove is second. You gotta nail that groove. I've been really turning towards African rhythms a lot lately. A lot of the new Kalya stuff you'll hear over the next year or two, there's definitely some Afrobeat influences, even if it's not traditional Afro sounds. It's yeah, using kick drums, different types of kick drums, not just one style of kick drum, but multiple kick drums in combination with the bass line to create this syncopated rhythm. And while I'm always thinking about, this, how this will groove and move someone, it has to speak to my body. And when I nail a groove, I am here in my chair bopping. If it's really good, I pick up the dog and I start dancing around the studio. That's when I know I've nailed the groove. Um, yeah, it's so essential and important, and it has to come from the body. The groove is not something you design so much with the mind. You've got to use the mind to calculate things, but the way that it feels is most important, and that's in the body, and that's where the real proper, groove comes from. And then the third thing I would say is then just making the story come to life. We have the story, the seed, then the groove or the foundation, and then the third thing is all the elements that go on top to make that story come to life, how the emotion travels across the storyscape, the different textures and the different frequencies that are used to create the world. Yeah. Hey, Christian. Um, Good to see you, man. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we got Christian there who was at the first retreat. That was a real cute one. It was like four of us um, four students and myself, so five of us. Oh, and Tyler. Tyler was there, and yeah, we were having a good little journey, that one. Um, Sweet. Yeah, good to see you, Christian. Uh, Yo, shout outs to J9. Yes, epic connections in the house. I hope she still lives out there in that magical place. That was really special. I miss her and her. She played the what was it? The wood saw. So cool. Tanglewood. Yep, that's going to be epic. Will we be copying any fresh music? Absolutely. It's going to be hard for me to play any music that you actually know, but I always have to. Eve keeps telling me I should play a lot more music that people know. But because I just made a whole bunch of fresh music, I just want to play that. You know how it is. And, so there's always the people that want to hear what they know, and then there's always the people that want the freshies. So we got to play a mixed bag. Definitely some freshness coming to Tanglewood. Come to Israel. We miss you. Oh, I miss you too, Chen. Miss Israel. Miss Mahumas and Matahini. Miss all my brothers and sisters over there. And we will return. It's going to happen eventually. We'll get back there. We need a wild boar bass track. Yes, absolutely. That's doable. Just take a wild boar, sample it, put it in serum. There it is. Done. Hummus on me. All right. You got it. What's your dog's name? Mishka. Her name's Mishka. She's very much asleep right now. Otherwise, I'd bring her back on the camera. Yeah, her name is Mishka, which is Russian/Ukrainian for little bear. But Mishka in Sanskrit also means gift from God. So she is a little bear that's been gifted from God. Oh, someone, Rainforest Town, Central Queensland. Cool. All right, Ricardo, sounds good. Yes, we will be doing more Aussie retreats, that's for sure. So yeah, you are more than welcome to reach out to info@merkabahmusic.com and yeah, just give us a little rundown on what you got on offer there, and we'll talk about it. Sweet. Oh, excited about the Afro beat. I am too. I'm very much excited by that. Are there any plans for retreats in Europe? Yes. We don't have something locked in for certain, but we are in discussions. And it looks like we'll either be doing the European retreat in June at the start of summer, or in August at the end of summer. We're not sure yet, but yeah, it's going to be epic. Darcy says, "Do you like Amapiano?" Some of it I like. It's mostly very, very cheesy with the vocals and stuff, but I love. I actually listen to some of it just to learn the grooves, how they groove with the bass line, because it's unique. That's what gives that genre its own vibe. I would love. I don't know. Maybe there's some artists out there that do like deeper, more psychedelic Amapiano. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. If anyone knows any, I'd love to hear them. But yeah, I like that style. If anyone knows the artist Tor, Tor, Tor has definitely incorporated some African style rhythms, some world rhythms in his newer stuff, and that's been definitely inspirational. Love his music. Listen to it all the time. I like Light of the North, your Enchanted Forest Fairy song. Absolutely. And did you know that those forest fairies are actually Eve? Eve was doing the vocals on that. And she has this amazing ability to just turn into a magical forest fairy. So, all right. Will you be playing at Boom Festival 2025? I don't know. I imagine, because I'm going to Europe, that I hope I'm there. I hope we're there. That'd be great. I think we'll just all have to wait and find out with that one. Thanks for the warm words there, Vivek. Oh, you can link me up to some good shit. All right. All right. I'm down with some good shit. Would you talk a little bit about Tantric Fusion and Hooked on Jungle? Yep, for sure. They came definitely around the same time. Living in the Blue Mountains outside of Sydney, up in a town called Katoomba. Life was a combination of living on Centrelink, eating out of dumpsters. Just really, really like, this was the first time that I moved away from my parents' home after sort of establishing my art there, and then going and wanting to be, on my own 2 feet. Living in a rental home in a town up there in the Blue Mountains. I'm originally from the Southern Highlands, Barrel, that area, Barrel Mittagong. So yeah, I was up in Katoomba, and I was on the Dole for 6 months, and then I got on Nice. And so yeah, life was very much like spontaneous, in the moment. There was another community of good friends up there, which is part of the reason I moved up there. And there was lots of adventures into the bush. And from our house we could walk down a pathway and be at the canyon at Lura and the waterfall there at Lura. So the bush was really, really, and some magic mushroom journeys in the bush there too, were really influencing my music at that time. A little bit of acacia, definitely. And yeah, the Hooked on Jungle track came from was inspired by my first ayahuasca experience, where it was not a ceremony. I was given a big bag of trachuna leaf by this. So let me get some water here. I got given a big bag of leaf, and then this guy gave me some extract of cappy vine, and he's like, take or turn off everything in your house, all the electricity off, and then take all your house plants and put them all in your bedroom around your bed, and brew this up like this, and then drink this, and go on the journey. And so I'm always down for an exciting adventure into the unknown. So I brewed it up, and unfortunately, it wasn't super strong. But I had an experience that sort of got my feet into that realm enough. I could feel the spirit of the plant, and yeah, it was after that experience of just sort of having that medicine come into my body and feel a connection to it. I started looking for people talking about it. I found Alex Gray talking about it, and so sampled him in that track, and I just wanted that track to kind of represent what I would feel the jungle to feel like. I'd never been to the Amazonian jungle, but I wanted to kind of get that flavor, that feeling in that track of that sort of deep jungly vibe. And then Tantric Fusion, I was reading some books on Tantra, and I wanted to create a song connected to the sacral chakra that just sort of talked a little bit about the energy of sexuality in a more liberating way, because we all know that on this planet that sexuality has got like a definite, like there's a whole bunch of energy around it, good and bad. And yeah, so when I'm making music, I'm always thinking and feeling about things personal and in the collective that would be good to bring light to, bring voice to. So yeah, that was the intention for that one. Let's see. Oh, you're writing a mini novel here, Nick. I started producing music in Logic 2008, using electronic drum. Tipper as my main influence. Yeah, nice. Okay. Oh yeah, name dropping. There you go. We got a link and everything. Oh yeah, so the retreat. Signing up for the retreat. If you just go to www.merkabamusic.com, and then just click on the retreat page, the tab for the retreat at the very top. Actually, I can probably just link. Let me just open up a tab here, and I'll just link you right here. Make it easy, so you don't have to go looking. Thailand retreat. It is a week, and it is in a beautiful place, and it is catered, and it is a quite luxurious place we're renting, and we feel that the price is extremely reasonable for this caliber of experience. And we do have a bunch of different payment plan options. About half of the students from the last retreat in Australia did payment plans. It's so much easier because you can spread it out over time, obviously. So yeah, just go to that link there that I just dropped in the comments, and that's where you can find out about the retreat. Sweet. Has anyone got a Merkaba tattoo yet? I don't know. Probably. I mean, in terms of the star tetrahedron as a tattoo, there's probably millions of people with that. I do know a young lad who, I don't know if he's still in Asheville, North Carolina. He got a Kalya Scintilla tattoo. Yeah, that was pretty cute. Definitely like that. Hardcore fan, I mean, I haven't even got a Kalya tattoo yet. Far out. Hardcore fan. If you have a Flower of Life tattoo, the Merkaba is inside that. If you read the ancient secret of the Flower of Life, he breaks down the flower of life geometry and how all the platonic solids, the Merkaba, all of these things are within that. So, you know, you've got the flower of life, you've got the Merkaba hidden within there. All right, what's next? Sitting on a gold mine of unreleased Kalya tracks. Well, you know, the funny thing about my sets is I do a lot of live mashups, and um, I run stems, and I sometimes play other people's music and then mix some of my stuff over it. Like, only occasionally if the track, you know, really fits the set. But yeah, often I trick people and they're thinking that it's new content in the sets when I'm actually just kind of reworking um, layers over other stuff, old stuff. But I do have this, yeah, I do have a gold mine that I'm sitting on now after being off the road for 5 years, including some very exciting remixes that I'm working on. Um, I really want to tell you, but I also want to keep the secret. Two artists that are from Merkaba Music, and I'm remixing their songs at the moment. And yeah, super excited about those. And I've actually been reworking some old classics as well. Yeah, so look out for a updated version of Feeling Good and an updated version of Womp Shanti and a fresh version of Rises in the East. Yeah, going back to the old school, bringing some new school. All right, so I'm going to just probably do a couple more questions here, and then yeah, we'll call it a night. Oh, it's been so much fun. Some great questions. Let's see. We got more. Okay, here we go. How did you come up with the Mumia album? Oh yes. Um, yeah. Shilajit is such a mystical substance. For those of you that don't know about Shilajit, and Mumio is, uh, you know, it's one of the traditional names for it. Basically, what happens in the Himalayas, um, there's plant matter and, you know, stone. There's all the rocky mountains and all the tiny little plants and moss and lichens and everything that grow on the rocks. um, the weather, the snowfall, and the erosion and everything kind of goes into crevices, into like the pockets of the mountain, and then it goes down through the mountain, and it comes out as this mystical, magical black paste. It kind of looks a bit like Vegemite, but yeah, it's this crusty paste, and it's kind of like a crust, but it's also liquid. Um, and it takes, if it's actually legit, as in, you know, authentic Shilajit, it has to take 70 years to go down through that passageway and come out the bottom. And they say that, like, back a long time ago, an ancient man, ancient humans observed the animals eating Shilajit, licking this substance that was oozing out of the rocks. And then so the humans started to partake in it, and then it became a revered healing and wellness elixir in the Vedic tradition. So now it's blown up and it's gone global. But it's important to know that Shilajit is the most counterfeited health product on the market of health supplements. And that's probably because it's not super hard to make something that's similar. Um, but it's very important to get your Shilajit resin from a company that has a very good source and they can certify it and it's tested and yada yada yada. You just want to know that what you're getting is the right stuff, because I've been given some Shilajit from time to time, and I just taste it and I'm like, oh, this is not what it's meant to be. It does taste very funky though. It tastes like you would imagine 70-year-old rock paste to taste like. It's earthy. It's got this. It's so hard to put into words. You've got to try it. Um, Yeah, so I do take it, I would say almost daily. It's sitting on my kitchen bench, and in the morning when I make a tea with some Chinese herbs in it, I take a little bit of Shilajit and I put it in that. Or sometimes I just have a jar sitting here in the studio and I just take a little dab of it and I put it in my mouth and eat it down. And I love the pure black Shilajit. It's always been, or at least for like the last 8 years, it's been my favorite Shilajit. And I was buying it, and a guy in Nevada City, shout out to Yosef, he got me hooked on Pure Black, and so I bought some after the stuff he gave me was used up, and then um, the owner of Shilajit, of Pure Black Shilajit, he reached out to me and said, "Hey man, love your music. Just want to tell you, love your music." And I was like, "Oh, dude, I love your Shilajit." And then he said, "Okay, cool, let's trade." And so we started a bond, music and Shilajit. So he said, "Oh man, Kalya Scintilla has played in the warehouse, played in the office. Like your music is infused into the product." And I said, "Well, how about I make an album that's inspired by your Shilajit?" And he said, "Oh, well, we're going to make this new Shilajit, which is infused with different oils and different herbs and things. So let me send you a bunch of those prototypes, and that can be your inspiration." So I used the Shilajit in the studio when I was making those jams, and each of the White Rabbit blends has a different, one's an energy blend and one's a calming blend and one's a vitality blend. And so I just would use the Shilajit and just make music, just trying to sort of capture the vibe of the the resin, which was lots of fun. I've never done anything like that. But yeah, I recommend checking out Shilajit. It's an acquired taste, but with anything in the world of health, once your body keys into the benefits of it and you feel, especially after you take it every day for a couple of weeks, if you take it, just one day in the morning, you'll feel like, oh yeah, it tastes weird. I don't know if I even feel anything. It's very subtle, but it works accumulative. And over time, all of those minerals, there's like 90 different minerals in there, and all the fulvic acids, incredible for your system. So after that goes into your system over a period of weeks or months, the benefits as you start to really feel. Um, Top three books, not including Flower of Life. Oh, that's hard. That's a tricky one. Okay, Barbara Marciniak, Bringers of the Dawn. Um, oh, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy have to be, because that was my favorite when I was a kid. Um, and a third book. Whew, I don't know. That's tricky. There's so many. We'll wait on that third one. It's coming. Are you planning to make any music course production in New South Wales? We might do another one back at Akura. We had lots of fun working with Freddie and the gang there. So yeah, that could happen again. We could do Northern New South Wales again. Um, we brewed some in tea. The Shilajit, yeah, it's good in tea. But if you've got a really good tea, you don't want to mess with that. The tea is, you shouldn't even put sugar or milk in tea. No, you got to get the best tea and just drink it straight tea. Um, but if you got Earl Grey, yeah, just mix some Shilajit in there. Where do I buy my Shilajit from? Well, I actually get gifted it because I have a wonderful relationship with Pure Black. But if I wasn't being gifted it, I would be buying it from Pure Black. So just look up Pure Black Shilajit. It's like a resin, jars of resin. It's not a powder. Um, Please write a list of your books. Oh, I do. I think I do have an old list of all my favorite books somewhere on an old note in on a hard drive. If I can remember to find that, or if I do find it, I'll post it up on my Kalya Facebook for everyone to check out, because there's a lot of great books there. A lot of trippy books as well. What does your forearm tattoo mean? You have them on both forearms. Yep, that's because I'm a Libra, and my star sign is Libra, so I try to make sure everything's symmetrical, which was really confronting when I was tripping and looking in the mirror and realizing my face wasn't symmetrical that one time. Oh, yeah, that was confronting. Yeah, it's a combination of Hathor from ancient Egypt, or Venus, and or Tiamat. Hathors were also on Tiamat, the seed of life, and a crop circle thing. And there's different sort of numerological code within it. It came as a vision when I was driving my car down a street in Sydney in Surrey Hills one day, and yeah, I drew it down from the vision on a piece of paper, and then made it on a computer, and then got it tattooed actually on the same street a few months later. What makes the Maria Reynolds scale special for me? Yes, absolutely. It's partly because I'm lazy, right? It is the most harmonic scale you can use while still being able to play all scales. It's basically like equal temperament gives us the ability to play all of the scales, right, within the 12 note octave. We're not talking about microtonal stuff. Maria Reynolds uses the exact same notes and accesses all the same scales, but it only has 3 decimal values on three different notes. All the rest are whole numbers. So the mathematics and the way that the Hertz frequencies come together and create geometry is so much more harmonic than equal temperament. You can use, if you were writing a F sharp Dorian track, you could make a perfectly harmonic tuning for that F sharp Dorian. I don't want to spend the time making these precise harmonic tunings for every single scale that I use. Recently, I've been using Mixolydian and Dorian and Phrygian, and I don't want to sit there and say, oh, okay, I have to make a G Phrygian harmonic tuning now. So what I do is I use the Maria Reynolds tuning for all my basic synth work, but anything that's a chord, like pads and other instruments that play chords, I actually use Hermode tuning, which is in Logic, and I use this little device called MTSESP from Odd Sound, which was developed with Aphex Twin, and it basically takes Logic's Hermode tuning, which is a pure tuning, and then it sends that to whatever synths are linked up to MTSESP, which is a lot of the synths I use, like Arturia and Yuhi. So essentially, a Hermode tuning is a pure tuning. So whenever you press a bunch of notes, those intervals are adjusted in real time to be perfect harmony, the same way that an orchestra would play. So when you're using chords, I find that that's the best thing. I do a demonstration of this in my retreat, and I want to make it for my YouTube channel eventually, because when you look at it on an oscilloscope and it shows, like an equal temperament chord, it shows how fuzzy it is, the harmonic relationship. But then on the same oscilloscope, you do the same chord with a Hermode tuning, and boom, it's like locked in and pulsing with beautiful geometry. So you can see a visual representation of what's happening on a micro level with the frequencies interacting with each other. So for me, my quest is to always make my musical relationships as harmonic as possible. And then if I want disharmony, that is a choice that I can have to create that. But I'm not creating in a disharmonic equal temperament from the get-go. I'm working from harmony, and I'm adding disharmony where I want it. Whereas the world of music currently, with equal standard tuning and A440, everything is disharmonic, and that's just the way it is. So yeah, I like to flip that upside down and say, let's make everything harmonic. And then if we want something that's dissonant and weird, then we can add that. But it's not the foundation that we're working from. So that's a basic, basic explanation of that. All right, I'm going to take one more question here, and then we're going to call it a night. It's been awesome. Been so good. What's your favorite drum pad to use with drumsticks as opposed to finger beat pad for live drumming? You know, I used to have a drum kit and I was a drummer for 6 years and I loved it so much. And I one day just hope that I can have a drum kit again, or even some really good V drums so that I can play. But I've been using this thing. It's just over here. This Nord Drum 3. Oh, there we go. This thing, I actually, because it's just sitting here within arm's reach, I actually end up tapping it with my fingers a lot. But I do have some sticks, and it's great to play with sticks. If you get a foot pedal for it, you can use the kick drum on a foot pedal and, you know, then play the hi-hat and the snare. It's lots of fun. But I actually use it for non-traditional drum sounds. Because it's a sort of a, I don't know, a physical modeling drum synth in a way. It's really fun to twist it and mess with it and create weird percussive sounds. So yeah, I like that a lot. So yeah, wow, that wraps it up. I am stoked that you all came out and joined in on the fun. Yep, Mishka is still passed out, but she wishes everyone a merry holidays and stay warm and cozy if you're in the north, and enjoy the barbecues and the shrimp on the barbie if you're down south. And yeah, if you're excited to come to a retreat, Thailand is the next one, and there are plans for Europe in the summer, but it's not definite yet. But yeah, just keep an eye out for that. All right, everyone. I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for joining in. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.